What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and this is episode 45. Well, alright then. But that's right, we're back with another episode of All Hail the King, and in this one we're going to be showcasing some of the top defensive teams. Now, if you missed the corresponding podcast, you can find the link in the description below. And trust me, this is one you do not want to miss. So go ahead and check that out, I'll wait. Okay, so I'm assuming you just came back, and now it's time to get started showing those top defensive teams. This is something that I get asked about all the time, and it is kind of difficult to show because, well, for one, it's a human versus AI controlling the defense. Obviously, I can only show me attacking, and I have completely different stats set up on offense as opposed to defense. So for example, we have about 15k HP, but if you're going to be facing a really tough Pestilence Beast and Red Hulk team, they're going to have between 19,000 and maybe even 21,000 HP. That's quite a difference, but still the mechanics are going to remain the same. The whole strength of this team is the fact that you can debuff the enemies and then hopefully outlast them, while at the same time Red Hulk goes ballistic absorbing energy. When he's on his game like he is in this fight, he becomes extremely annoying for the enemy team. Then also his Gamma Bomb, and hopefully your agent's setup can end up stunning the enemies, or incapacitate them, causing them to miss their turn. They're really not going to need that much because dots are going to quickly eat away any enemy team. For me, with my agent, I usually go with the Signpost and the Hotshot or the Deathly Freeze Ray. Then the Twisted Gift is also another great option if you have it. So yeah, that's the setup. You're just going to eat away at your opponent's health. Typically though, you are going to want to have very high defensive stats. Switch over as many tacticians as you can, and you can also go with a full defensive armory. That's how it works, and it tends to work quite well as it's been one of the most popular teams over the last few seasons. There are ways to beat it though, and we're going to take a look at that in the Breaking the Meta episode 2. That video will be posted next. So make sure to stay tuned for that exciting new episode. Then don't worry, before the next PvP starts, we're going to cover Invisible Woman and Molly Hayes as well. That will be Breaking the Meta episode 3. As you see here, this is one way that it can be done. In fact, Red Hulk's going to help take down Molly Hayes before she even gets to use her Tantrum. That's definitely the main key when facing this team. Then next, Beast is going to help take down the enemy agent, or much like the Red Hulk, he's going to put him in a dot range. In this case, the Signpost is actually going to drain enough health to take down the agent, but since I'm exhausted, that is going to be the end of my turn. Still, it provides a nice heal, so we're going to go with that move. It's going to all be worth it. Next up, with Red Hulk, we're going to use Bulwark as a quick action, and that's because of the quick and powered ISO 8. Then after that, we're going to use our level 1 Searing Smash on Invisible Woman. After this, he's actually going to get counterattacked, but Red Hulk doesn't mind when he has Bulwark because he's going to absorb quite a bit of energy back. In the process, he severely hurts his counterattacker. Just another reason why he is incredibly annoying on defense. Then with Pestilence Beast, we take off just enough health for Invisible Woman to die to dots. Then moving on to the second team that I wanted to show, it's also using Pestilence Beast. But we're teaming him up with one of the most devastating characters on defense, at least in my opinion. That's the Guardian Gamora. We know what Beast offers, but what Gamora brings to the table is, first of all, if you use the Guardian Insignia, she's going to give your agent guaranteed hit. He in turn gives her survival training, so she's not going to be that easy to take out. Gamora also comes equipped with some of the nastiest debuffs in the game. Her Demoralizing Shout can place Cower, Doom, and Despair on all the enemies. So let's start with Doom. When it triggers, it's going to do a massive amount of damage to any enemy that's unlucky enough to have it. Despair is going to prevent healing, and then Cower is one of the most overpowered procs in the game right now. It seemingly goes off all the time and completely shuts down your actions. And you know what else is truly special about Gamora? The AI actually seems competent enough to use her correctly, at least most of the time. They utilize Demoralizing Shout, they're smart enough to use Whirlwind to trigger Doom. Oh, and by the way, she has an execute as well with Fatal Blow. And they won't hesitate to pull it out when someone's below 30% HP. She's actually a character that doesn't really have weaknesses, so she is phenomenal on defense. So that's my teammates, and then with my agent I usually back them up with the Hand of Apocalypse. That's going to pack quite a punch. Then I'll equip him with the weather control device, the Guardian Insignia of course, and often the Synthetic Cube. This was probably my favorite team on defense for quite a while. Also, as you can see here, they can definitely win on offense. Oh, and this turn is when it gets scary. We're going to start by using the Fire Tornado. Then with Momentary Advantage available, we're going to use that, followed by 2 attacks from the hand. Hopefully we can knock out 2 of the enemies by the end of this turn. So first off, we're going to hit Invisible Woman. Oh, and I just wanted to show everyone that their team is indeed exhausted. But in a moment, that's only going to matter for Luke Cage. Here goes our first Hand of Apocalypse attack, and it does over 16,000 damage. Then with our second hit, we do over 11k to the enemy agent. Just like that, we have a 3-on-1 advantage, and we're going to start out with our level 1 Heart of Darkness. At least Null can be afflicted with Nano Plague, even though not too many other dots. After this, with Gamora, I'm going to use a Mortal Strike. On Null's turn, since he's exhausted, he's just going to go ahead and use You're Not Worthy. And then we get 3 turns in a row, so hopefully we finish him off before his next attack. We'll keep spamming Fire Tornado just in case. And then we're going to use the Guardian Insignia, followed by the Hand of Apocalypse. It looks like it's going to do a lot of damage, and it drops him down to 54 HP. Beast unfortunately stunned, but we can pull out an execute and easily win this match. So that's it for number 2, and now the third and final team should be easy to guess. We're using Invisible Woman and Molly Hayes. So the basis for this team is Molly Hayes and a ridiculous amount of attacks. The only thing that can hurt her is if you use Exhausted on her, then she uses Temper Tantrum, and after that she won't be able to do her barrage of attacks. Enter Invisible Woman. With her circulating EISO, she grants air pressure, so that party members with shields remove and prevent debuffs while shields are active. Since she's always popping shields, Molly Hayes is going to be immune to being exhausted, and if you do place it on her, a shield could pop up almost at any time and remove it. So that's why it's annoying. All this team needs to do is make it to Molly Hayes' second turn, use Temper Tantrum without being exhausted, and the enemy team is in for a lot of trouble. Luckily for us, that turn is coming up already, so you're going to see exactly what this team does, and it ain't pretty. By the way, I like to play Shield Breaker on our level 9 Let's Play Catch, and then I also like to place the Bloody AISO on our level 1. Right after using Temper Tantrum, we'll start with Let's Play Catch, and with that bursting AISO, this Invisible Woman team is in for a lot of pain. After setting them up and bursting their bubble, we're going to start using Dropkick on all the enemies, followed by a wind-up punch. The AI does do random actions, but they'll take a ton of turns and get plenty of attacks in. So much so that most enemy teams can't stand up to this attack. That's especially true when you can land her level 2, which we're about to do right here. So there's a 22k hit. And now let's set up the agent. Molly Hayes is just throwing drop kicks and haymakers everywhere. Then with our second wind-up punch, we once again miss, but if you fail, go for it again. Then finally, Invisible Woman will receive her drop kick and her wind-up punch. That's how this one's going to end, and I do realize there are a few other defensive teams like Quicksilver and Null, but that one requires the tag team EISO to work, or at least to work well. And I don't have that one yet. If you do, then you're probably even more familiar with the team up than I am, but I will end up getting it someday, and I'll definitely take a look at them. That is going to be it for this episode of All Hail the King, and I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, good luck, and take care.